What's up, everybody? Matt Malatesta here to announce this week's Whataburger Team of the Week. That is none other than the CE King Panthers. How about the Panthers going off 70-55 over Atascocita? CE King moving up the rankings. Coach Corey Laxton, the new head coach over there, is doing a tremendous job. Just give the ball to Deion Sims. Give the dude the ball. He's averaging over 200 yards a game. CE King is 3-1 going into another big week. This week against Goose Creek Memorial. All right, CE King, you guys are our team of the week for one. Hello, everyone. Matt Malatesta, Jackson DiPasquale, Alex Hinson. We're talking football. This is On My Whistle, the podcast. Okay, another huge week. Great week. It started Thursday night. We saw one of the best games of the year so far on the VYPE Thursday Night Showdown, where Randall held off Iowa Colony with a battle of two of the best 2027 kids in the country. Landon Williams-Callis completely exploded. After fumbling the ball on his first two carries, he had unbelievable fumbles, which gave Iowa Colony a huge lead going into the second quarter at 21-0. Carson White, the quarterback for Iowa Colony, showed a lot of great things. Pocket presence, huge arm, can make all the throws. He's a willing runner as well. It was just a great back and forth game, 49-42. The defending state champs win again. That's 3 in a row against Iowa Colony, who's a great team. Coach, Garza does an amazing job over there. And of course, Brian Randall does a great job with his guys. But it looked a little bleak there for a minute for the state champs. And they turned it around. You knew when he fumbled twice, that was going to not bode well for Iowa Colony, because he was just going to make his point. What did y'all think about the performances of Landon and White as 2027 national prospects? And I'll write a whole story about it.
Yeah, Landon, he did have those 2 fumbles, but then he rushed for 342 and I believe 5 touchdowns. He's now at over 5,000 yards in his career in high school. So, I believe he's about 3,000 away from his cousin, Jaquez Rogers, who had about 8,000 in his career. So kind of incredible that he's already at 5,000. We're only 4 or 5 games into the season. But yeah, Landon, we knew even watching last week's game against Marshall, once he fumbled, he really turned it up because he knew, hey, I can't make those type of mistakes. I'm gonna bring the team back into this game, and that's what he did. On Carson's White's side, you got to see how dynamic he is, both with his arm and with his legs. He made a ton of plays with his legs in this game, but he also made some nice throws to get big first down conversions, 2 big touchdowns to Jaden Warren and Ian Hill. I mean, these are 2 guys that right now are going to be 2 of the top guys in the city of Houston going forward, even next year as well. So it's fun to kind of watch them play. And I was honestly really impressed with Carson White, just his development over from last year to this year, going into his junior year. He looks like he's maybe put on a little weight as far as just muscle mass, and then he's really spinning it right now, and you can see the confidence he's playing with.
His body language was amazing year over year. I mean, this guy has metamorphosized into what a quarterback looks like. It was kind of cool to see Texas Tech on the sideline, but man, he is a dude. He is for sure a dude. For me, and I love the numbers and I love the stats. For me, I am icing up Landon Williams-Callis, meaning you have 5 more games, 6 games, let's call it, which in theory could potentially cruise through. They're going to need them, but they're going to need them late. But I mean, they're not going to do that.
No.
Well, I mean, you look at the past games that they've had when they do get a big lead. It's kind of funny that in the fourth quarter they let the kids wear the headsets, so they'll have like Pac-Man at linebacker talking to talking to the defense coordinator up top. They'll have Landon with the headset on, so they will ice them, but it'll be, hey, we're up 42-7 at halftime. So
Yeah.
they'll give him some rest, and I'm sure there will be some games where he'll get some rest. But for right now, you let your bell cow work, and you let that offense work. And Tyler Skrabnak had a big night for them too.
He did have a good night. He had a good night. Well, thoughts on the game?
Definitely, Carson White just showed me that he's the man. I didn't know. Now I know.
Right.
I learned real fast, real quick. Throughout the game, I mean, he was having the monstrous just celebrations after he would score. But then as they kept going back and forth, you kind of see it in his face, like, hey, this is like this is another one. Like, I know they're coming right back at me. That last one, I can kind of see like he was like, man, these guys keep coming, but they kept coming at him. Carson White threw that one really good pass in the corner, just like over the shoulder of the cornerback and right there in the corner.
That's
you had
beautiful.
a good shot.
It is a flick of the wrist.
And then Jackson, you had a great shot of that one. As far as Landon's concerned, is to bounce back from that, I think is pretty big. But I mean, that's 3 times he's fumbled, which is concerning to me. That's why I kind of am on your page, like sit him for a while. But Jackson, I think you noticed he switched from his gloves and went straight hands after that.
Yeah, he went a little old school. That's all mental, I think. It's mental.
Yeah.
Like, once he had that first fumble, I think last week, I think you're processing like, okay, I got to hold on the ball. And the thing about Landon is if he's got a guy in front of him, he's not looking at the guy in front of him. He knows he's going to make this guy miss. He's looking at the guy behind him. Okay, how can I set up this guy to make the next move? That's what makes him so dynamic. And I think the biggest thing with the fumbles really was just he had guys coming from behind him that he couldn't see.
Yeah.
And, I think he gets that cleaned up. I think that he's still going to rush for 2,000 yards at least this year. I think he's going to get very close to 30 touchdowns, if not way more than 30. So I think he'll be fine. But I did notice the glove change. I think that was just him mentally saying like, okay, let me throw this other crap away. I don't need anything other than just me, myself, and I.
Mm-hmm.
Man, when he started getting downhill, he's a ball of fast twitch energy, and his footwork is amazing. His pad level is amazing. His spin moves, and then his speed. When he got outside, he got bounce. And he gets outside, he just ran away from people, which, I mean, that was really impressive. So enough about him. I mean, he had a great year. The fumbles, I ain't worried about the fumbles.
Okay.
Yeah.
I ain't worried about that at all.
All right.
I mean, he has just got another gear, and he's got a determination about him, which is amazing. Deion Sims from C.E. King. What the hell? He went berserk also. 70-55 over Atascocita. Man, what a game he had. And it was another thing. I mean, that's 120 points in a football game. That football game was like 4 hours long. But man, what a breath of fresh air. Corey Laxton is the coach over there who did coach at North Shore. He was an assistant for several years. He gets over to C.E. King as an assistant and he's now the new culture of that program. But man, C.E. King has got it going. And that was that signature breakthrough win in district that they needed. And I think that's going to propel them to maybe a district title for sure, I think, in the number 1 or number 2 spot.
Yeah, I think they're definitely a team that's a playoff team right now, based off of how they played.
For sure.
The only game they've lost to is Dickinson. It was a close loss. Other than that, beating an Atascocita team that has been one of the top dogs, if not the top dog the past couple of years with North Shore, it was pretty impressive. It's something that, when we were going through the offseason, they were a team that I was really harping on, that, I knew that they were going to be a little young at some positions, but they've got a lot of talent over there, a lot of speed. And that's the thing. I feel like that's the difference in that district, is just whoever's got the most speed, that tends to be the team that does really well in that district. And they can be physical on defense. That's the other thing. So I think CE King is a dark horse right now in that district to kind of watch out for, especially with how they played against Atascocita. But then on the flip side, for Atascocita, they played CE King this week. Now they got to bounce back. They got Summer Creek, who right now is undefeated, top team in the district, with just them being undefeated right now. And I think that it's another tough test. Luckily, they're home, but technically, with their stadium,
It's all the same.
it's all the same. So that's going to be a fun matchup there at Turner Stadium on Friday.
Summer Creek is our number 2 team in the city of Houston, and I'm not saying they haven't been tested. Yes, they beat Shadow Creek in the very first game of the year, but that's going to be their first big test, I think, is against CE King. And those two schools are right down the street from each other. They know each other. They probably played Little League football with each other, but Kenny Harrison, the coach over there, does an amazing job with Summer Creek, especially when they get into that Division II playoff set. Whew, they get going. So I think that's going to be interesting. We can't sleep on Kingwood. They continue to win. And that's another tough team in this district. CE King, Atascocita takeaways. Alex Hinson.
Takeaways from Atascocita is Carde Mack was back. He seemed like he was still producing. CJ was still producing. I just think CE King just had a couple extra weapons that we didn't know about. I mean, 6 touchdowns is crazy. That's a whole nother level that it popped out on my page whenever Ogle sent the updates. Is hold on, this kid keeps scoring, this kid keeps going back, and that score looked like it was a 90s NBA basketball game or something. 70-62. What's up with the defense, guys? Like, I mean what's going on honestly over there? But no, it's high powered offenses going at each other, and I definitely agree with you. You know, it's going to be a test for Summer Creek, but they're the top dogs right now, and I think Summer Creek's we're gonna really see what they're about whenever they face them. But CE King, they're a force to be reckoned with.
Well, I think we're also really just gonna see how this district is gonna play out. You know, if Atascocita gets a win, then that really kind of gets everything set up for that North Shore Atascocita game. Mm-hmm. You know, that game's always a big game, but if they take the loss here, then that North Shore game is going to be crucial for them to potentially try to get a playoff spot, because Kingwood's still very good. CE King, we just saw what they did. Summer Creek, they've been really good this year. North Shore's turning it up right now. So, like, everybody's starting to heat up at the right time. This is a crucial week for Atascocita playing that Summer Creek team.
Man, it is. Wow. Okay. So up north, everybody was talking about Klein. No one talks about Klein Collins, because it's just kind of a tale of two coaches. Coach Caduti at Klein is really a great program energizer, and has done so for Klein High School. Adrian at Klein Collins is kind of a chill, puts the kids in front, but he's got a really, really great formula. Their offensive line is really good. Klein Collins takes down Klein in a big one. You were at the game, 36-30. Klein Collins, do they have staying power? They've beaten Willis and they've beaten Klein. Those are 2 VYPE top 10 teams at the time. I mean, I'm not saying they're the best team in Houston. Maybe they are. But what was your takeaway from Klein Collins in that game?
Yeah, I think just the physicality up front. You know, they were, every time they wanted to run the ball, they were getting at least 4 yards a carry, 5 yards a carry. Braden Scoggins, the quarterback, using him in the run game. It reminded me a lot of Kansas State's offense when Colin Klein was the quarterback there, just growing up watching that offense. You know, a lot of quarterback power, a lot of quarterback run game, but then also running some play action off of that. And getting some big plays down the field in the passing game as well. I think the biggest thing about them is just the physicality. Defensively, you know, they faced a pretty good rushing attack for Klein, and though Klein did get their points, and they did do some things offensively. I think that Collins was able to kind of have that bend, don't break mentality, and they were able to get some big stops, especially on 4th downs. You know, Klein goes for it on 4th a lot. They don't really kick the ball very often, even when they're in the red zone. So, big hats off to the Klein Collins defense. They had a really good game, and you know, it was just a fun game. Like, if you like the old school, like just both teams running the football physical, pads knocking. That was your type of game. It's really fun to watch. And the first half was really low scoring. So I was like, okay, like it's 8:00. We might get out of here by 9:00.
Yeah.
And then by the time the game was over, I think it was like 9:30, 9:45. And I was like, the second half was just back and forth, nonstop. So it's just a really fun game. Big atmosphere. I think, you know, I've been to a few games over there at Klein Memorial, but that crowd on both sides is very impressive for that game.
Yeah, that's exciting for them. I know the athletic director there, Brandon Baker, he is in his second year. He hired Coach Caduti, kind of not kind of a big hire for him. And man, it is paying off dividends right now. They're going to be a force to be reckoned with. It's going to be interesting to see how they bounce back from a loss.
Well, they've got a big game this week. They got a big game. They play Tomball at Tomball this week. Tomball has been kind of the top dog in that district the past couple of years, you know, even sharing title with Collins and Kane the past couple of years. But Tomball is a team that is playing really good football right now. Yeah. So that'll be another good game out at Tomball ISD. And then Collins will play Klein Oak. Should be a pretty competitive game. Similar styles. Mike Rhodes will be in the mix, we know, for Klein Oak. But yeah, I think Collins can definitely be a team that can make a run. I mean, they went 3 rounds deep last year. They easily could do that this year too.
I feel like
2 or 3 rounds.
They're number 17. I think they're higher than that. I don't know why I put them at 7, but I think that they're higher than that, and it's gonna bore out later in the season as it goes on, because of the formula of controlling the ball and the clock and moving the chains. A high school football game can be a very short game if you can run the ball, move the chains, control the clock, and play good defense. That's a winning formula every time. The Katy Tigers won 9 state championships doing the same damn thing over and over and over again. They know what the plays are, the opponent does, but you just got to stop it. But that's really interesting. And the funny thing is Coach Caduti is very connected to Tomball. You know, he has been in that district and was an assistant there. He has been in that district, and that's going to mean a lot to him, that game this weekend in Tomball. We talked about the 5A game. Another kind of sneaky game last week, Montgomery beating Dayton. And it was kind of a little lopsided a little bit. I think Montgomery had a breakout season last year. Y'all were at the media day with them over the summer. But y'all came back saying, that's a big offensive line too. They can run the ball, control the clock. Coach Prieto, the coach over at Dayton, he's got his son playing quarterback. It was all set up for him at Dayton, the whole town right going nuts. And Montgomery Bear just come on in there and do work, knocked them off.
Yeah, I think it was just a high scoring game. I believe final score was within 10 points. But that Montgomery team, yeah, their quarterback's a big old kid. He's about 6'4", 6'3". Offense line is big, defensive line is big. They don't look like a 5A football team up front, I'll say it like that. But yeah, I was a little not actually surprised because coach over there has really, when we talked to him at the beginning of the year, he had a really good feeling about this team and what they can do. And I think that Montgomery is a team that we saw last year. They made the playoffs and made a little noise in the playoffs, and I think that they can do that this year too.
Yeah, they had a big year last year. Lake Creek was getting all that shine, and then for years, and now Montgomery's back, baby. Montgomery is back.
Big Montgomery.
The Bears, and they lost a lot of good players from last year. Maybe their quarterback or the running back or somebody that did a lot of work for them last year. Okay, so. This week's games. The blockbuster game is what? We'll go through 4 or 5 games. What's the blockbuster?
I think a blockbuster, only because of last week too, is Pearland facing Pearland Dawson. That's our number 4 team in Pearland taking on their their rival, crosstown rival,
100%
Pearland
rival.
Dawson. The rig is going to be popping this on Friday. We'll have Matthew Ogle will be there to cover the game. I think this is going to be a big game. You know, Dawson got the somewhat upset victory over Shadow Creek last week. They beat them in overtime, I believe by 3 points. So there was a big win for Dawson, and now they're kind of rolling. And you know, they got a little momentum with them when Pearland's coming in, but. You know, Pearland has been on a roll. I haven't seen anybody that's been able to stop them offensively, and then defensively, they know how to make you one-dimensional on defense. So I think that's the biggest thing with that game. Going to be excited to see how that score plays out.
Big brother, Pearland. You know, they're the OG in Pearland. And then you got Dawson that came up. Pearland, don't forget, they won the state championship with Tony Heath in the VYPE era, let's call it. I think that Pearland is just too much. The difference maker on Pearland to me is the quarterback. They just hadn't had that quarterback. But he's very, very confident, and he can run. He's athletic as a quarterback. So I really like him. I think Pearland wins this game, but you're right. It's going to be a showdown because did you tell me that Dawson stormed the field after winning last week?
Yep, that's the reports I got. That Dawson stormed the field after walking it off against Shadow Creek. So, you know, thinking about the rig and being at that stadium before, both sides will be packed for that game.
I'd love to see like a kid
storm.
hanging off the goalpost. Mom! And his mom running after him over there, coming to catch him. Kill them, my baby fall. That's a big game. We talked earlier about the Sea King Summer Creek game. That's Tascasita Summer Creek. That's a big one because that's playoff implications right there. If Tascasita loses, I'm not saying they're going to lose because I think they got that. They got enough to go in there and beat Summer Creek. Would it be an upset? Somewhat, but I think if Tascasita falls, you're like 3 games back in the standings because now you're lost 2 big head-to-heads like that. So I think is there a must-win in high school football? Kind of.
This might be it.
I think they've got to win 2 of 3 games actually. I think they got to win either this one, North Shore, Kingwood. Those are the 3 teams, and then they got to beat Humble and they've got to beat Goose Creek Memorial and Channelview. I'm more concerned about them when they play North Shore and when they play Summer Creek and Kingwood. I don't want to say it's must win yet because anything can happen in high school football. But we're getting close to that point. And I think, you know, Carter and Max playing good football right now. I think they're going to be fine. I think this will be another shootout. Last year it was a shootout. I was at that game, and, you know, I think at halftime, Atascocita was up by like 3 or 4 touchdowns. I was calling somebody. I was like, hey, I'm probably about to head out because I had to go somewhere the next day. But then I ended up staying for the second half, and, you know, it was back and forth. Summer Creek got back into the game, and I think Atascocita scored with like 11 seconds left to take the lead. So, you know, this is going to be a fun matchup, but I think that this one's a crucial game that, you know, if you can get the win now, get the win now.
No,
I call it must win.
I call it must win. Like, who they lose to? Westlake.
They've had a tough schedule.
Last week before that, they lost to
Westlake and CA King. Those are their only 2 losses.
Yeah, but they beat Katy.
They beat Katy and they beat Lamar.
So, I mean, but Westlake, CA King, Summer Creek, like, is that who they play next week? Summer Creek?
They play Summer Creek.
Yes.
So, if I mean, that's 3 in a row. Like, I think 2 you lost these 2, so I like them winning this week just because you had those 2 losses on your mind. So I'm gonna pick the Atascocita to get a win this week for them to at least stay in this race because that's a tough division. Like you called it earlier this year, you're like that schedule down
Brutal.
This just brutal. It's literally the SEC of Texas high school football,
and you got to stay healthy.
Yeah,
you got to. If you don't, you're in trouble. Okay, Kyle Coates. He was our original person on our podcast. Number one, the head coach at College Park. And why I brought him on is because he's different in Conroe ISD because he's a hustler. Not saying the other coaches aren't hustlers, but what I'm saying is he's a marketer. He is a hustler. He is an energy guy. And he came from DeSoto, little chip on his shoulder. And man, they are turned that program around. They were a lot of people's homecoming games, I thought, back in the day. Now they're playing with a ton of confidence. They got to go to Willis. What you talking about, Willis? You got to go up to Willis. And how are they going to contain Jermaine Bishop? I don't think they have enough to do so. But College Park is in a great spot, undefeated as VYPE's number 6 team in the city of Houston. What? Whoa. You would have that would be a never.
Whoa.
Coach doing work over at College Park. Sell me on College Park beating Willis.
You know, I really like Camden Hughes, the quarterback over there. I think he did get hurt last week from what I heard from some people who were kind of watching that game and at that game. Hopefully he'll be healthy because he's thrown for 1,500 yards already this year. He's thrown for big touchdown numbers. You know, they've got Julian Cromartie, who's Antonio Cromartie's son. He's got 500 yards receiving, and I believe he's close to double-digit touchdowns. Jordan Stiles is another wide receiver that's very explosive. You know, they're explosive in the passing game. They can pop runs. They've got a nice offensive line who kind of returned a lot, and they're physical, very physical. On the defensive front, they got Jordan Grant, the nose guard. He's big, 6'2", 292-pound nose guard. Kind of hard to move at the interior. It's going to be in Marco Beltran in the back end, too, at safety. And he's got the speed to hang, I think, with a Jermaine Bishop as far as just if Jermaine breaks one, he can be able to catch him. But I think that this game is going to come down to how does head coach Trent Miller use Jermaine Bishop? Because he's used him in all different capacities this year. He's the punter. He's the punt returner. He's the wide receiver. He can run a quarterback. He can play running back. How do you want to disguise him and use him to get him the ball this week? I think that's the biggest question. And then defensively for Willis, can you get after Camden Hughes like you did Jack Dalton a few weeks ago when they played the Woodlands? And I think that's going to be key for them is getting after the quarterback because Hughes is going to get the passing yards no matter what. But can you make enough plays and get enough stops, quarterback pressures, sacks to disrupt the timing there? I think that's going to be the key for Willis. College Park, win the physicality battle up front, and you'll probably win this game.
Hey. Throw a camera on Jermaine Bishop. He does it all. Like he's the cameraman, he's the water guy. He does it all. But yeah, I think it comes down to what are they going to keep him in the backfield? I like him out of the backfield just to kind of get him the ball early. Like something can happen if you're throwing it out to him at the wide receiver. You know, it takes a little time. I don't know how quick you are getting that pass out, but get the ball in his head as quick as you can. Give yourself a best chance. He's gonna break one. That's just what he is. I'll never doubt this guy.
He's gonna score.
I'll never doubt this guy again, ever again.
Also, last week he broke the city of Houston high school career receiving yards record. I forget who was. I think actually Andrew Marsh might have been at the top of that list previously. So kudos to Jermaine. He's gonna do more of that. I think this year. I think there's more records that he is able to break this year. But yeah, he's going to score. He's going to score, and you kind of got to live with that. You just have to limit that.
Yeah.
Limit that, get a few stops, make them punt the ball, and then you got to take advantage of that and score on your end. So
the only reason I'm here is for history lessons.
Ah.
Cal Coates was the defensive coordinator at DeSoto the year they won the state championship. So he understands speed. And I'm not sure, did they play Willis that year?
I believe he came over. Yeah, no, they would have played
DJ
Willis.
and them.
I don't actually, no, he wasn't on that coaching staff that played DJ.
He's knows speed though. And he knows, because he was doing it against all the Dallas speed and talent, Duncanvilles and South Oak, Cliffs and people like that. He's a different beast, but he's gone against some super freaks up in Dallas. Can he scheme it? I think he can probably scheme it. It's going to come down to what else can they do. Willis, and does he have the personnel? Do you have at DeSoto? He has some ballers that could run too. So does he have the personnel on defense that can stop the big play of Jermaine Bishop?
I think Beltran has the ability to. Well, that'll be the matchup I'm looking forward to watch. But you also got to stop the tight end, Javion Martin. He had a touchdown reception and some really big catches in the second quarter to move them into position to be able to score late in that Woodlands game. And he also plays defensive line too. So, yeah, this is going to be an interesting one.
It's a wild game.
It's going to be interesting to see Coach Coates' defense versus Trent Miller's offense. These two head coaches going head to head and play calling responsibilities. So it's going to be really fun to kind of watch these two guys kind of scheme it up. And also, I think the biggest thing is halftime adjustments that are made in this game are going to be crucial to who wins this game.
Number 6 College Park versus number 9 Willis. And Willis lost, their only loss came at the hands of Klein Collins, who's number 7. Drama, baby, drama. Let's go.
Love drama.
There's just so much happening. Bridgeland Cy Springs takes the undercard. This is a really good game, and this is a great game because it's 2 top 25 teams, let's call it. But we had this game on TV last year, and it was not super exciting. But I think Bridgeland wins this game. I do love what Melvin Paris does at Cy Springs. We had Bridgeland on against Ridgepoint, and they were good, not great. They got either Ridgepoint's really good or Bridgeland just couldn't do anything on offense. But I think that Bridgeland is the class of this district, wins this game, wins the district title, and they got to get more prolific on offense.
Yeah, well,
long road.
I think Cy Springs is winning in this game.
Woo!
I like Bridgeland. I like Cash Schwab, the running back. I like what they do offensively. He didn't show me enough in the passing game to make me feel confident that this team can just go up and down the field like they did last year. And also the offensive line is a little bit different. They were a little banged up against Ridgepoint. I'm curious to see if they're going to be healthy this week. But you got to stop number 1. That's Cy Springs. And not a lot of people have been able to do that this year. So I think it's going to be a fun matchup. I think Cy Springs wins. It's close. I could see this being a 7-point spread, or I think it's within 7 either way. But I'm going to pick Cy Springs. I think they bounce back after a close loss to Cy Ranch, which just kind of turned into a rivalry over there with Cy Springs and Cy Ranch. Both teams get really chippy with each other. They're talking on social media constantly. So this is going to be a big game for Cy Springs to bounce back and get a win here. But I think this district is going to be similar to the North Shore Atascocita Summer Creek district where there's a lot of good football being played right now. It's going to be interesting to see who kind of takes the district title. I think Cy Ranch winning against Cy Springs. I think Cy Ranch has a team that could beat Bridgeland and take over that number 1 spot this year. But I think it's going to be an interesting game to see kind of where both teams stand.
Yeah, Cy Ranch is an anomaly at times. They lose some games they shouldn't lose, but they're big and physical. And I think them beating Cy Springs is kind of the blueprint of maybe how to beat Cy Springs, and that's going to be physical up front and not let them get going and let Paris get going. You just can't let him get going. But you're right about the offensive, the passing game. If Bridgeland gets behind, they can't score fast. Mm-hmm. They just can't. As what we've seen as it relates to Ridgepoint in that game. Now, Ridgepoint's really good. They're the number 1 team in Houston. But, man, they could never get that passing game going.
And that's not to say, the quarterback, I like Tyler Beagle a lot. I think he throws the ball really well. I just don't think they, at least against that Ridgepoint secondary, they weren't getting enough separation to where he felt comfortable throwing in the windows. I think they also had some drops on some passes too. So, just excited to see if they've developed a little bit and gotten more explosive in the passing game. Because if they can get more explosive in the passing game, watch out, because this Bridgeland team is going to be able to run for 150 yards a game no matter who they're playing. So, yeah, I think that's going to be the big question mark.
Any thoughts?
I just think Bridgeland will have a little bit more of a chance instead of the Ridgepoint game. I like them when they were playing, I mean, they looked big and huge. It's just they didn't have any explosiveness plays, and I'm gonna put that on Ridge Point showing up. That was a real good game. I think even Coach LeFevre said that's our best defensive game. So they got their best shot from the best team in Houston right now. So I'm gonna pick Bridgeland to win this game, just so we can get the ball rolling against them, get them going right in the direction where we think they're going to be, but they still have to prove that they can do something offensively. And that's our questions right now. It's just, hey, can you do this against a good team? You're doing this against teams you should win against,
Right.
But now this is another test for you. Let's see if y'all can actually put some offensive points up in. That's the name of the game. Have more points than the other team.
Teams we don't really talk much about. Teams that have moved into the top 25. One team in particular is in the top 12. Magnolia. No one talks about Magnolia. Solid team. The Katy Tigers back in the top 25. Should they be in the top 25?
Yeah, they've rolled the past couple of weeks. We're gonna find out when they play Cade Jordan. I believe that's in 2 weeks. That'll be our VYPE Thursday night showdown game that week. But I believe Katy, as of right now, yes, they deserve to be back in.
It's the defense for me. The defense is not.
I mean, they won
defense
55-7 last week.
They give up like 20 points against Cinco.
True. They still scored 42 though.
I mean, we're gonna find out. Houston area is better when Katy is good because their crowd comes. There's so much energy. They bring a lot to the table. We want Katy to be good. How about these Memorial Mustangs? Brooks Hack, another guy from Katy, the former quarterback from Katy High School, who was the OC at Randall, who won a state championship last year. Young guy gets hired at Memorial. Memorial's job is not wildly sexy because they just don't have a ton of elite talent right there. But he is winning. He got the baseball kid to play football. That was probably the biggest recruiting coup that he had. What did you say? Because he wasn't playing football.
Yeah, they got the Texas commit playing quarterback. He's committed to Texas for baseball, but he's really spinning it right now. I think he's doing really good things on the football field. I think their only loss is 1 point and I forget who it was exactly, but they're rolling right now. They won big over Cy Falls, who won that district last year. Cy Falls defense is pretty good, so a little shocked in that, but I think Memorial's rolling right now. Coach Hack obviously knows how to win, looking back at his time in Katy, when talking about like establishing the run game and make sure you're getting the run game going, but also going to the Randall style of play calling where you're motioning guys in and out to read coverage, or you're trying to disguise certain things in the passing game. So I think he knows what he's doing. And I think that, this Memorial team is really rolling right now.
If he doesn't get the Katy job in years to come, which he might not, he could be at Memorial for literally 25 years, because that's a great job. The expectations are not wildly super high. They're always a first round, second round team. But you get him rolling in there, he is just breathing life into that program. And here's what, knowing people in Memorial, they had a bit of an exodus when he came there because moms and kids, they weren't used to what it takes to win in Houston. They were 2 a day in. They were grinding. They were working like they hadn't worked their entire life. These kids are European vacations and, their moms packing their lunch and stuff and folding their t-shirts. That's what Memorial is. Now when Brooks Hack got there, and he is challenging them as a community. Are you sure you want to be good at football? Because if so, this is what it takes. And man, it is showing on the football field so far. They can lay an egg the rest of the season. I don't know. But the culture shift has changed, and Memorial is just tougher for it. Watch though. If they win that district,
That I mean, they,
people will be like, "What? I know we got the it's not a super powerful district."
Cy Falls, Cy Fair. Cy Fair's playing really good. They're in our top 25.
Stratford.
Cy Fair's in our top 25.
Yeah.
That's not a bad district.
They're in the top.
There
25.
were 3 teams in there that started in our top 25 at the beginning of the year. So
2 teams at the bottom of our list. We love to take some flyers sometimes. Flyers.
I'll take one. I know.
Nimitz Cougars, number 25, 3-1. I think they can win that district. Nimitz Cougars. Coach does a great job over there, and Aldine Davis, Coach Chatham over there, does a great job too. What do we know about Waller at 24? They won 1 game.
I know. His name is TK Gaines, and that kid, I don't know if in the Grand Oaks, I know he went and played with the USA baseball team. They had their tournament, kind of similar to, there's a lot of actually Houston softball girls who are playing with the USA softball team right now, overseas, just, trying to win a gold medal. But anyway, so TK was there. I don't know if he came back for Friday nights to come play. Maybe he did a couple weeks and then 1 week he couldn't, but he's playing really good. Last week he played a big game. They got, or 2 weeks ago, they got the big win against Cy Woods. They had a bye week last week. I don't remember who they played this week, but Waller could be a dark horse. Last year they finished 5th in the district, almost made the playoffs. I know we got Matt over here looking at me like I'm crazy, but I really like this Waller football team. They've also done things really well in the offseason. TK Gaines is playing with his high school teammates, getting them ready, playing 7-on-7 with them. Coach Mendoza is hosting 7-on-7 tournaments, so his guys can get that experience of just playing more and more football and getting more knowledge of what they're doing. So I really like TK Gaines and this Waller football team, and I think that this is a team that could potentially make the playoffs this year.
Well, they're in line to do so at 24 in VYPE's top 25. Marcus Mendoza, this is how old I am. Marcus Mendoza, we did recruiting stuff on him when he was at Spring Woods. He might be the last person that have ever been a power player in a Division I kids for football that came out of Spring Woods. I think he went to Nebraska. What? Running back. He was a gritty grinder. And he's got that same edge to him. Young coach doing a great job. Maybe he found his sweet spot in Waller. Low expectations, beautiful facilities. That community is growing as it relates to rooftops. Could that be a new power in the... People don't even know where Waller is around the city of Houston. But I think if he's got a quarterback that he could hang on to and keep him playing football and somebody else not coming to get him and him not saying, "Oh, I'm going to focus on baseball," they got a couple of years in them that might be somewhat special. I'm not ready to say they're going to make the playoffs, but I think they're close.
I want to remind you of another kind of smaller town, kind of similar to Waller, that, they got this quarterback, and he was a young quarterback, and everybody started talking about the kid. And then, kids started moving over in that direction to go play with this said quarterback. And then, wouldn't you know that team won district, and has won district the past 2 or 3 years now.
Yes.
And that is the Willis Wildcats when DJ Lagway came in as a freshman and sophomore. Tristan Gaines has that same type of impact that he could make on this Waller community. And I think you're starting to see that right now in a team that has very high potential to be a playoff contender. Not just, oh, they're on the bubble. They have a chance to be in the playoffs this year. And I think that
would be
TK Gaines is the reason for that.
A headlining story. Alex, do you know where Waller is?
Do we pass? Is there Buc-ee's there?
I think there is. No, crazy enough, they have, oh gosh, what is the weird? They have a massive cricket field there that the U.S. Cricket Organization placed in Waller of all places. Nobody knows what cricket is.
Well, we do our citywide there. Maybe.
Well, we did our citywide a couple years ago because their facilities are really nice.
It is really nice. They do have really good facilities out there, and yeah, I mean, the population just keeps growing out there, so it is a good. Looking further down the line, they can actually make some noise if they can keep coach there, just like you said, just kind of keep the pillars there that are pushing the program, and so keep these kids. You get the whole thing today now is just keeping these kids right where they are. Don't let them move. Don't have them going all these other places. So yeah, Waller's definitely has a potential to be a Willis Part 2.
Willis, I mean, 10 years from now, they could be a Cy-Fair because it's just going that direction and that type of kid. Tomball Memorial, Cy-Fair. I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah.
Okay. Private schools, anything magical there? TWCA is doing well. They're rolling. John Cooper, Jacoby. We haven't seen much out of him yet. Who transferred from Brenham, but they had some other big time players there at John Cooper. I mean, big time for SPC. That game against Kincaid is going to be a big one.
Yeah.
St. Thomas is decent. I don't know. It's kind of hard to say.
It's hard. I think it'll be easier to tell once we get a little bit deeper in the districts for private schools as far as that goes. I think TWCA is for sure our number one team right now. Santiago Fernandez. He's playing really good football right now. And, you know, they just beat a pretty good Episcopal team this past week. So they'll start rolling into the district play. I think that's where we'll really see how good they are playing LSA, Second Baptist. But I really like what TWCA is doing right now.
Okay, that's it for us. Matt Malatesta, Jackson DiPasquale, Alex Hinson. Don't forget to send in or tag us in, collab with us on our Instagram for sure. Check out our YouTube pages, like, subscribe, check out our Twitter for daily content as well as scores, updates, etc. We got our VYPE team out there doing work at these games too. Our high school football, we're in the middle of it. We are in the middle of it. It's week 6, maybe week 5. We're not sure. Maybe it's week 6.
Week 6.
We are halfway home, unfortunately. This is Matt. See you at the games. Get out to the games. These are the next superstars that you're going to see in the college or pro game. All right. See y'all next week.